She was still wearing a collar, a small one, faded, with a tiny bell that jingled every time she moved. She had no home, no owner in sight, nothing but that one small detail that didn't make sense. Someone, somewhere, had once loved her enough to put it there. Her name would later be Clementine, but on the morning Grace first saw her, she was just a calico cat sitting perfectly still at the edge of a parking lot, watching cars pass like she was waiting for one particular one to stop. And what Grace would discover about that little bell, weeks later, would make her cry in a way she hadn't expected. It was a gray Tuesday morning in early spring. Grace was running late for work, coffee in one hand, keys in the other, when she noticed her. A calico cat, black and orange patches over white fur, sitting stiff and upright near the dumpsters behind the coffee shop. Not hiding, not hunting for food, just sitting and staring at the road behind her. Grace almost walked past. She had done that 100 times before with other strays. But then she heard it, a tiny metallic jingle, so faint she thought she'd imagined it. She crouched down, slow and careful, and saw the collar. Thin, pink, faded almost white, with a small silver bell. Cats on the street don't usually wear collars. Strays don't come with bells attached to them by someone who cared enough to buy one. This cat had belonged to somebody. Grace didn't know it yet, but that one detail would change the next 2 months of her life completely. She held out her hand slowly, the way you do with something fragile. The cat didn't run. She didn't hiss either. She just looked at Grace's hand, then at her face, then back at the road behind her, like she was still deciding whether to trust this moment or keep waiting for something else. Grace named her Clementine for the orange patches scattered across her fur like little slices of citrus. She wrapped her in a spare sweater from the car and drove straight to the vet instead of the office. No microchip, no tag with a phone number, just the collar and the bell, and nothing else to explain where she'd come from. The vet guessed she was around 4 years old, healthy, well-fed until recently, spayed. Someone had taken care of this cat once and taken care of her properly. That only made the mystery heavier. A cat like this doesn't end up alone behind a coffee shop by accident. Something had happened. Something had gone wrong. The first nights at Clementine's apartment were quiet in an unsettling way. Clementine didn't explore. She sat by the door for hours, facing it, as if she expected someone to walk through it any moment. She ate only when Grace left the room. She flinched at the sound of the front door of any apartment down the hall every single time, like each one might finally be the right one. Grace tried everything: soft blankets, toys, a sunny spot by the window. Clementine ignored it all. She kept that collar on, refusing every attempt to gently remove it for cleaning. The moment Grace's fingers got near the buckle, Clementine went rigid, ears back, eyes wide, like the collar was the only thing left connecting her to whatever life she'd had before. There was one night when Grace tried anyway, just to wipe dirt near the buckle. Clementine let out a sound Grace had never heard from her. Not quite a hiss, more a warning wrapped in fear. Grace pulled her hand back and just sat on the floor, watching the little bell settle back into stillness. She understood then. This wasn't stubbornness. This was the last thread of something Clementine wasn't ready to lose twice. By the second week, Grace had grown attached in a way she hadn't planned for. She found herself talking to Clementine the way you talk to someone who understands more than they let on. She started researching the neighborhood, asking at nearby shops, posting photos online, hoping somebody somewhere would recognize the little bell and the fading pink collar. If you're still watching this and haven't subscribed yet, I have to be honest, that stings a little. Stories like Clementine's are why this channel exists. Hit that button right now. It means more than you know. 3 weeks in, a woman named Diane messaged Grace online. She lived 4 blocks away. She'd seen the photo. She said the collar looked familiar, but she wasn't sure why. She asked if she could come see the cat in person, just to check. The moment Diane walked through the door, Clementine went still. Not frightened, frozen, staring, ears forward, that tiny bell falling silent as she stopped moving entirely. Diane knelt down slowly and said one word, quiet and uncertain, "Pepper?" The reaction was instant. Clementine rushed forward and pressed her whole body against Diane's legs, purring so hard her sides shook. Diane sat down right there on the floor, tears already falling, and told Grace the story neither of them had expected. Pepper had belonged to Diane's mother, who passed away 8 months earlier. After the funeral, a nephew had taken the cat temporarily, promising to find her a good home while the family sorted through the estate. Somewhere in that chaos, Pepper disappeared. Nobody knew when, nobody knew how. The collar and bell had been the mother's gift, bought the same week she brought the kitten home 9 years before. Diane had assumed Pepper was gone for good. She hadn't stopped thinking about her, but she'd made peace with never knowing. And now, 4 blocks from her own apartment, in the arms of a stranger who'd noticed one small jingling sound behind a coffee shop, her mother's cat was still wearing the very same collar, all this time later. Grace sat on the floor with both of them, watching Pepper press her face into Diane's hand over and over, that small bell ringing quietly with every movement, like it had been waiting months to finally come home to the right sound. Diane offered to take her that same afternoon. Grace said yes without hesitation, even though something in her chest ached at the thought of an empty apartment. But 2 days later, Diane called again. She said Pepper wouldn't settle without seeing Grace, that she paced by the window every evening at the exact hour Grace usually came home from work. They worked out something neither of them expected, but both of them needed. Pepper stayed with Diane, close to the family who remembered her mother's laugh whenever the bell rang. And every Sunday, Grace came over, and Pepper met her at the door like she always had, like some part of her simply refused to let go of anyone who had ever shown up for her. Diane's brother came to visit one Sunday too, the same nephew who had lost Pepper months ago. He sat quietly in the corner most of the afternoon, watching the cat move between Grace and Diane like she finally had exactly what she needed. He apologized more than once, though nobody asked him to. Pepper climbed into his lap near the end of the visit, bell ringing softly, and nobody mentioned blame again. Diane never took the collar off. She replaced the worn strap eventually, but kept the same small bell, cleaned and polished, still ringing the exact same note it had 9 years ago. She says it isn't just a collar anymore. It's proof that love leaves a mark, even when everything else falls apart. Grace still thinks about that gray Tuesday morning, how close she came to walking past, how a single small sound almost went unheard behind the noise of a busy parking lot. Sometimes the smallest details carry the heaviest stories. A bell, a faded ribbon of pink fabric, a cat who never stopped waiting to be recognized. Some love doesn't announce itself loudly. Sometimes it just keeps ringing quietly, waiting for the right person to finally stop and listen. Do you think Pepper somehow knew Grace would understand? Or was it simply the right person at the right moment? Tell me what you think in the comments below.